Back to Total Shock Fiction. I'm your host, M. Pandit Cole, aka Dr. Shock, the world's most shocking scumbag journalist on the planet. And today I'm going to be talking about hotepism, being an otaku, and the adversity of being a real nigga that likes comic books. Because in the comic book space, as they call it, comic book geekdom, it's really not so inclusive, because in a way, within comic book culture, or as they call it, nerd culture, you're expected to be a nerd. You're expected to be among fellow nerds in nerdism, right? So I used to go to the comic book shop and I'd walk in, and if it wasn't the staff who knew me, who I would walk in there and chop it up with and talk to, they would be looking at me sideways like I was in there to try to steal some shit because light skin black. I walk in, I dress, normal ish. I don't know, whatever the fuck this is. I mean, I didn't used to dress like this with aloha shirts and shit. I used to just wear t-shirt, jeans, baggy jeans, whatever. So it's like I'm not a blurred. I don't really identify with being a blurred. I have respect for the blurs because I like that there's a whole black community within nerd culture and within comic books and pop culture, but I don't like the term nerd. I don't know why the nerds like to be called nerds. It's kind of like a thing where they've taken the power from it to where they used to call people nerds to make fun of you, and now they say, well, we're nerds and we're proud. And I get it, but it's like I don't consider myself a nerd. Like, I mean, I guess you could call me a movie nerd because I do love movies and I know dates and directors and years and trivia and shit like that. I always win at my family Jeopardy nights. But I don't like to think of myself as a nerd. I try to think of myself as a real ass nigga. Like, since I was fucking 16, all I wanted to be at 16 was a real G by 19. I wanted to be a quote unquote real nigga by 19. Did I succeed? I don't know. Am I a real nigga now? Debatable. So, it's really not so inclusive. But I also see this hotepism, hotep culture is viewed as inherently toxic. People outside of hotep culture, or maybe even within hotep culture, I don't know, being a hotep nigga has been very negatively attributed to what hotep is or what hotep means. And I'm not necessarily like, oh, I'm a flag waving hotepper, like, but I do be on my hotep shit. Like, I've hotepped in my life. Like, I do identify with hotepping. And, on the black side of things, they look at hotep as you dusty, you broke, you too woke, nigga, you always on that depressing ass deep shit, always trying to be on some conscious shit. The movement's over. No one wants to hear all that hotep shit, that woke bloke shit. Is I What they view hotepping is what I call woke blokesters or niggas who be faking the funk when it comes to the consciousness. That's on black side. On the outside of that, it's looked at as hoteps are homophobic, toxic masculinity, hate women, similar to like incel, but like conscious black, and you hate women and hate gays, some shit. It's like that don't have nothing to do with hotep, bro. So let me break it down for y'all. Hotep means to be at peace. It's a concept that comes from Kemet, which is the true name of Egypt, Black Egypt, not what they've misappropriated it as and call it Egypt. It was originally Kemet, which was built by the Kushites of ancient Ethiopia. Go read Wonderful Ethiopians of the Kushite Empire by Drusilla D. Houston, and she'll inform you that the Kushites built Kemet. Kemet was the epoch and apex of civilization at that point. Not the apex of civilization that has ever existed on our planet, but it was the epoch of culture that the Kushites had built. So it was basically their luxury ass place that they'd constructed where all the culture was at. It was like conscious Vegas type shit. Hotep Vegas was what Kemet was. And then when Kemet falls and the rise of Greece, ancient Rome, which are both black civilizations, history is alive. That's just his story. Ancient Greece was a black civilization. So was Rome. We'll get into that on a later episode. But Hotep means to be at peace. And the way that you become at peace through Hotepism, which I call the proper way for being Hotepism, and now this is more my own interpretation, is to honor Ma'at, which is Maat. Ma'at. Ma'at is a goddess. She represents justice, balance, and the harmonious equilibrium of being in a balanced state of being. When all of your energy is in correspondence with the universe, when you're serving the immense goddess Kundalini. Kundalini is also a goddess. All of the goddess deities are all connected. Kali, um, Sekhmet, Aset, they're all Isis, they're all one goddess, and it represents the goddess frequency of divinity. Creativity is a feminine quality. It's tapping into that chi, that mana, mental alchemy. This comes from the divine goddess frequency, which is Ma'at. So the way to view it is you must serve the divine feminine nature of Ma'at, the divine feminine principle which women embody, and by devoting yourself to that in service to that, you then gain the power of Kundalini, which is the God energy that comes into the body. And this is for men and women, regardless of you, your gender or your sex. You have a divine masculine, divine feminine nature. We all have a yin and a yang, and you got to bring the yin and the yang together. Yin yang. They say yang, but I'm pretty sure the pronunciation is more like yang because it's yang because it's Chinese. But I never hear anyone say that. But I came up on that, so I don't know. So I say yin and yang instead of yang. But anyway, yin and yang, yin and yang, whatever you want to call it, the balance of the shadow aspect and the light, because the shadow aspect must be illuminated by the light in order to achieve the God frequency within I and I self. That's Jah Rastafari. I play with a lot of different ideologies and I put them together. And that's what I call Hotepism, the proper way for being. And when you achieve Hotepism, the proper way for being, which the proper way for being isn't a certain discipline or doctrine, it's your proper way for being. It's the rule of the bone, which you decide for yourself. It's up to you. That's the rule of the bone. You live by the crossbones. You decide what your rule of the bone is. That's part of the creed of the Black Tiger Society. So once you've achieved Hotepism, the proper way for being, by discovering what your personal moral compass is, then you live by it, and that's how you attain Shingon, which is the mind state of universal heritage. All culture is popular culture. We have popular culture. So even if something isn't from your ethnic background, from your cultural background, from your religious background, you can adopt the philosophy, doctrine, ideologies from different cultures and you can bridge them together because it's all one universal collective experience. It's universal heritage. All heritage is all of our own heritage. So it's bridging gaps and forming connectivity where we have division and tribalism. So Hotepism has been framed as basically black toxic masculinity. Being a Hotep is your black toxic masculinity, and that's a misappropriation of an ancient Kemetic term, and that's a disconnection from our sacred Africanality, which is why I'm going to correct it because it's not the case. That's not the case. There are toxic Hotepers out there. I don't consider them Hotepers. They're no teppers because there's no Hotep in their Hotepism. They're no tepping. They're not hotepping, they're no tepping. No teppers. Shout out Panic, Ashe, Bliss in Paradise, Ashe. So, that being said, I'm a nigga who likes comic books. However, I don't read all the superhero shit. I'm not a fucking Flash stand boy or Superman and I liked superheroes as a kid. I grew up watching action cartoons, Justice League Unlimited, Static Shock, Superman the anime series, Batman the anime series, Spider-Man the anime series, X-Men, Incredible Hulk. All the original Marvel movies when they first came out in theaters. I was 6 years old when Spider-Man came out. I went and seen Hulk 2003 and Incredible Hulk 2008. Bliss in Paradise to my grandpa. He took me to go see Incredible Hulk. And he took me to see X-Men The Last Stand, and he took me to see Spider-Man 3. Fantastic Four, I went and seen in theaters. Rise of Silver Surfer, I went and seen in theaters. I seen every superhero movie in theaters. TMNT 2007. I seen every superhero movie in theaters. I grew up watching superheroes, but it's like as an adult, for me, once I got into adulthood, it's like superheroes don't really do it for me unless they're doing it in a certain way where it's dramatic, dynamic, cool, interesting. I still like the DC animated movies, but I'm not just sitting here every day thinking about what's Superman gonna do next, what's the Flash gonna do next. Like, run fast, nigga. Like, Superman gonna fly. Like, the same shit, the same stories, the same white faces. Like, when I got into comic books, it was around 1920, right? Because as a kid, I love superheroes. I, go on Wikipedia, read up the little storylines and the lore on Wikipedia, but I didn't have the ability to just go out and buy hella comics. Like sometimes you get the Marvel Legends action figures, they come with a comic book. So I had comic books from my action figures, but I never just went out and just bought comics. there was a comic book shop over the causeway, like 40 minutes from my house, right across the street from the college CRC that I eventually went to when I wrote for the newspaper over there. So right before I went to college, I started going to the comic book shop buying comics. And then when I started going to college and then working at the college, I had a little money. I would go to comic book shop, start buying up comics, buying up comics, buying up comics. So I have a little comic book collection here. But what I would get would be volumes. I wouldn't get just standard one issues. I do have standard one issues, but they're on my wall right here, forming a border around the window. I got Groovy Deadpool from when Deadpool 2 came out. I got the Humans. I got Power Rangers Mighty Morphin 1 when they started the Power Rangers comic book. I got Hack and Slash Son of Samhain 1. I got Spawn Resurrection. I went and got that when the Spawn Resurrection event happened. I got Killigy, the Halloween edition with the dude from the Rejects, Von Frankenstein. Not from the from the Misfits, the dude from the Misfits. Von Frankenstein. I got Hellboy 1952. I got Hellboy in Hell. I got an old Ghost Rider I grabbed. And then I got a Luther Strode. And then I got Vamp Blade, Zombie Tramp and Vamp Blade, bro. That was like the shit. Those Zombie Tramp comics and Vamp Blade was the shit. I got two Vamp Blades. I got an Adventure Time with Marceline on the front. And I got Hexed or Hex. I got Scott Snyder's Witches. I have that in that same plastic behind the Hex. And then I got Savage Dragon from Free Comic Book Day. So that's on my wall, bro. So like I know comics and I know characters, I know mythologies. I study fiction. So I've studied everything from classic fiction pulp and dime novels and classic literature and gothic literature, Alexander Dumas, H.P. Lovecraft, all the way through to dime novels, to comic books, to superheroes, to EC comics, to weird fiction, pulps, Tales from the Crypt, eerie, creepy, all that shit, bro. Like I've studied all this shit. So I like all this shit. But it's like I feel ostracized within nerdom or whatever, geekdom, because they're like, they don't really accept you if you ain't a nerd. Like if you don't act like a nerd or you ain't on some nerd shit. It's like I like nerd shit. I just don't consider myself a nerd. I aspire to be cool. Like nigga, I be on my Hunter S. Thompson shit, Gonzo shit with the Aloha shirt. And it's like people might say that's a nerdy or whatever, but it's like I don't give myself these derogatory terms. Like I call myself a hotep taku. I'm a hotep nigga and I'm an otaku. Really, I love anime more than anything else. And even within anime, some people are manga only. And it's like I only read some manga. I only read manga I really fuck with. I prefer anime. I've always loved animation over everything. So cartoons, superhero cartoons, and anime over manga and comics. But I like comics. So when I started going to the comic shop, I started getting alternative comics. I would only get volumes and I'd get alternative comics, different shit that I would come across, different shit that I would find. So going through, I have some Marvel, I have some DC, but the first shit I'm trying to think in order, like what was the first shit I got? The first shit, I think, well, one of the first shit I started getting into was Hack and Slash. So Hack and Slash is one of my favorite comic book series. This is Hack and Slash. This is Son of Samhain. I think the creator of Hack and Slash wrote this one. Yeah, Tim Seeley, I think, wrote this one. No, he didn't. No, he just did the series direction on it. So this one isn't by Tim Seeley. I have the Hack and Slash. I have the Hack and Slash omnibus in here. Hack and Slash is about a final girl named Cassie Hack. She's a slasher hunter, so she hunts slashers, right? Like her mom was a slasher called the Lunch Lady. She was bullied, so her mom became a slasher and killed all her bullies. And then she had to, you know, she had to hunt her first slasher. And then now she is a slasher hunter, and she has this big dude named Vlad that she goes around with. He has a gas mask over his face. He's like a big Jason motherfucker. And she hunts slashers. That's what Cassie does. She's a suicide girl. She has the aesthetic of suicide girls, if you know what that is. She's a goth girl. She's into girls, and she's a fucking badass. And I love Cassie Hack. I wrote a love letter to Cassie Hack, which it's not a love letter. It was my article about the Hack and Slash series. But this is a great jumping on point. If you've never read Hack and Slash, you can hop into Son of Samhain. This is a sequel to the original run, so it's just a continuation, but you don't have to know what happened before to get into it. What I like about this more then of course my computer's trying to die on me when I'm trying to film this shit. What I like about this is I think the artwork is more consistent on Son of Samhain, and um, I think the story is really condensed, and it breaks down clean on this shit. So Son of Samhain is a good one. Most recently, because they've done many different hack and slash crossovers with other comics, and the original run, and then they've done different reboots. This one I really liked. This is by Zoe Thorogood, and she has a series she did called The Lonely at the Center of the Earth. This is her on the back here doing a Cassie cosplay. But she did this new series, Cassie Hack Back to School, where she goes to a girl a school for slasher hunter girls with other girls who hunt slashers. And the artwork is totally insane. It has like kind of a little anime meets video games influence. There's a black girl with a katana in it who's badass as fuck. So if you're into girls who like girls and girls who like killing slashers, then Cassie Hack and Slash Back to School is where you need to go. So I really got into that. I love the movie Wanted. In eighth grade, Wanted was my favorite movie. I used to watch Wanted over and fucking over. I knew the whole movie word for word. Today is the birthday is my anorexic boss's birthday. you know, so I love Wanted, and I used to play the video game Weapons of Fate. So I had to get a good volume uh, collection of Wanted, the full story. Mark Millar's a beast. I also read all the Kick Asses. I used to go to Barnes and Nobles, stand at Barnes and Nobles, and read Kick Ass. Um, this is another one. So once I got into comics, I'm not Marvel or DC. I've always been Image. So I gravitated immediately towards Image because I would just grab comics that were alternative, which means non-regular superhero shit, and I would just read those. So that would always be Image. Luther Strode. These were on display. I copped both. Luther Strode is Punisher meets slashers, another slasher themed comic. It's like Punisher if he was Michael Myers with just insane action. Insane fucking action. Extreme violence, but stylistic. This could definitely be an anime. It should be animated. Luther Strode volume 1 and 2. The third volume I didn't like as much, but these volumes were really good. So Luther Strode was another one that really solidified me in alternative comics. But just so you guys know, I do have Marvel DC. So I got Werewolf by Night. This is from the Marvel Max run for Werewolf by Night. This shit's fire. The artwork is crazy in this shit. I love werewolves. I have a book series called the Werewolf Man Trilogy. It was my first trilogy I wrote. So, we got that. You can go get that on Amazon. Hard Boiled, Goggle Republic, and Children of Raw. Those are my first 3 books. I now have written 30. They're all on Amazon. Classic Blade. This is the black and white collection of Blade. This has Blade through different runs. A lot of the old classic black and white shit after he got his own series. This is the classic Blade in the red leather jacket with the wooden knives, wooden daggers before he even had a sword. So those are fire. Really gothic literature vibes on those. I got Superwoman here. If I'm gonna go super, it's gonna be Superwoman over Superman. I got Wolverine, Old Man Logan. Kind of disappointing, honestly. I mean, the artwork and the world building is cool, but I don't know. It didn't blow my socks off as much as I thought it would after all the hype around it. It is cool. I would like to see this adapted to adult animation, like panel for panel. I think would be brilliant. They could do a lot with that, but of course they don't. Got Batman Vampire right here. Love the vampires. Batman and horror, just perfect combination. Love that. It was a great purchase. One of the best ones I ever got. I had to eventually get a Watchmen. This one's signed by fucking Neil Gaiman. I got it off Amazon for like $10, and it's the full collectors. They used to sell these at Barnes and Nobles when the show came out. They were damn near giving these away, so of course I had to get it. The Humans. This is the greatest alternative comic. This is about biker apes in the 70s. It has nudity, sex, violence, bananas and chrome. It's biker apes, Planet of the Apes meets fucking Sons of Anarchy in the 70s where humans are slaves and the apes rule the world. It is so fucking cool. It's so fucking dope. It's psychedelic as shit. Get high, trip on some shrooms, smoke some weed, and read this. Of course, I'm not advocating for the use of psychedelic mushrooms because they're illegal. This is another cool one. Wolf has a black guy, a cult detective, girl with like a little girl with magical powers in it. It's like one of those stories where like the kid with magical powers is being chased by the world of supernatural. So I think the detective guy has to like help her, protect her, something like that. But he has powers, and this is like H.P. Lovecraft ish vibes. Has like a Cthulhu guy in here with like the tentacle face, like Cthulhu, but he like wears a hoodie. He looks like a stoner type of a deal. And yeah, this was a cool one. This was a cool one. Yeah, this is see, he's like Cthulhu, like he got tentacle face, but he just wears a hoodie. So this one's cool. I think I only got 2 volumes. It was from Image. It's called Wolf. This was just a random werewolf comic I picked up called The Pack. It's not. This one's from Third World Studios, which is a publishing company I haven't heard of, but this was actually a good comic. Solid art, solid story, good horror comic, good werewolf comic. Manga I got at Urosugi Doji Volume 3. I actually met Toshio Miyata at my first SAC anime. So big Urosugi Doji fan, so I had to make sure I got one of those. What do we got here? Punk Rock Jesus. This is like an American manga style. This is from Vertigo. And it's like they clone Jesus. He makes a punk band. It's drawn in like black and white manga style artwork, but it's, a Western comic book. So this one's actually a really cool comic. It's actually a good story. Of course, anyone who fucks with comics, yes, I've read Something is Killing the Children. I have volume one, two, three. I have the deluxe edition with volume five, six, and seven, and I have volume eight. I don't have volume four, but I have all of them. I've read them all. I like Something is Killing for the Children. I hope they get the animation right. I hope they get the show right. It's cool. It's cool. I don't really have nothing bad to say about it. I think it's cool as shit. Similar to some of my own stories I've written, so I like it. I dig it. And then you have Spawn. So back when the Todd Father launched the Spawn universe shit, I did make sure to be up on that. So I'm gonna bust this out right here. I have Spawn Universe. I keep this one in the drawer actually. So I have Spawn Universe right here. You know what I'm saying? So I am a comic book nigga. Like if you got comic books in the bottom of the drawer, I made sure to participate in the Spawn event because what I like about Todd McFarlane is he does cool shit. So like he said, you have people that are younger who never got to get a Spawn one, who never got to jump in on Spawn number one and continue with the series. So I copped Spawn Omnibus Volume One, which this is like the first 6 Spawn issues, which is like the most important storylines. Like it has that pedophile ice cream man that he kills, and a lot of the original stories, the original origin story of Spawn, a lot of the shit that they have from the animated series and the movie. So this is like a go-to. This is like the original Spawn run. And then I got the Spawn Universe comics. I got King Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn, and the Scorched. If I had to pick my favorite, I like the Scorched because I like Medieval Spawn. I really like Medieval Spawn, and I like She Spawn. Gunslinger Spawn is cool, but I don't like westerns, so his storyline I wasn't really thrilled by. King Spawn is all right. King Spawn is all right. Here's the thing with Spawn. I'm gonna be real. Better in concept than he is in, execution. The Spawn art is always kick ass. The stories, it's a little wordy. It's not that thrilling. I just am not blown away by the storylines of Spawn, but I appreciate Spawn as a universe. I wish they would just drop a new animated series or a movie and quit fucking around. They're supposed to do the movie with Jamie Foxx. I don't know why they won't just make a movie. I guess the Todd Father's too busy making money, probably. But you know, so I fuck with comic books, but I'm a hotepper. I be, researching shit. I know a lot of different shit when it comes to Afrocentric history and studies and metaphysics and occultism. And I'm also a Lovecraft student, right? I'm a student of Lovecraft. After I dropped out of high school and became a Hikikomori, dropped out of high school to be a rapper and was a Hikikomori and started writing fiction at 16. did my own college curriculum from 16 to 20. I was just in independent study on my own, teaching myself all different shit, studying film noir movies, books, reading different shit, reading Native Son, reading Frankenstein, studying different shit. And that's when I really got into the world building of shit. Sorry, I forgot what I was even talking about. Something about being Hikikomori. See, I totally forgot what I was even saying. Why was I telling you guys I was a Hikikomori? Spawn, Hikikomori. I forgot. I forgot. Oh, Hotep. Yeah, Hotep. And that's when I got into Lovecraft. I spent like 3 4 years just studying Lovecraft, reading as much of his shit as I could. I read all his short stories. I read about 70% of all Lovecraft shit. The only shit I haven't read is like the ones that are short novels that are hella long. I didn't have the mental capacity to read like all of them. I literally went halfway insane because I was just reading gothic literature and weird fiction every day. Like I felt like I lived in the 18th century. I was just like reading Alexander Dumas and reading Lovecraft every day. Like deep in the shits, deep in the shits. But I also fuck with Donald Goines. Like I read Donald Goines, I study Donald Goines. I'm a student of Donald Goines. I read urban fiction. I got Quan Foy on the fucking bookshelf. I got Sister Soldier, the Midnight Trilogy, Monster, the autobiography of the LA gang member, Bliss in Paradise, Sonika Shakur, The Prophet. Like I study the grassroots shit. Like I study everything, bro. Like Native Son, Richard Wright. I mean, and then more recently, within the last year, I got heavy into Gonzo, became an acolyte of Hunter S. Thompson, became a Gonzo journalist, and now I have my own doctrine, Scumbag Journalism, Stieg Larsson, The Expo Files, Millennium Trilogy, and then I fuck with real Murakami. Like, so I read different shit. I fuck with different shit. So I don't feel like we always got to put ourselves in these boxes like, well, I'm a blurred or I'm a hotep or, I'm this or I'm that. It's like, nah, like, so that's why I call myself a hotep taku, right? But I'm also a prolific indie author, self-published, have my own publishing and print, total shock fiction. 30 books available on Amazon. Here's the commercial. Go check out mrshock.substack.com, mrshock.substack.com. That's Mr. Mister, mrshock.substack.com. Go there. All the books are linked in my profile, or go on Amazon, search Mr. Shock Chronicles. My books will come up, the Mr. Shock series. Click on one of those. Click on my author name, N. Pandit Cole. Boom, all my books will pop up. Go get Shock Therapy, get Shock Therapy 2, Bad Profession, get War of the Wet Saints if you like urban fiction. That's an urban horror myth punk book. Get Bullets and Shotguns if you want to read the Knights of Merlin trilogy. It's one of my best fucking books. It's like $50, but it's like 400 pages. It's worth it. It's the original Knights of Merlin, all 3 volumes, which was so fucking epic. That's when I got into myth punk. I wrote 25 books in 2025. I've released 2 books this year, but one of them was the 25th book from last year, which was mostly written at the end of the year. So I released Shock Therapy first week of January, which was the 25th book from last year. And then beginning of February, I dropped Shock Therapy 2, Bad Profession. And then haven't dropped the next book yet. I do have a book that's done. And then, always writing new shit. My website over on Substack, mrshock.substack.com. That's where I publish my articles, essays, stories, serials, everything like that is on there. But yeah, so this has been an episode of Total Shock Fiction. I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it. Maybe Real Ninjas Can Like Comic Books Too, You Blerds, or something like that. I don't know, some kind of spammy clickbaity title. I'm not sure. I would just call it Real Niggas Can Like Superheroes Too, or Real Niggas Can Like Comic Books Too, or some shit. I don't know if you can put nigga in the title. I don't know if that's gonna get me like, they're like, oh, you can't put nigga in the title. You're fucking shit. But anyway, from a real nigga who likes comic books to whatever real niggas and beautiful ladies on the other side of the screen. Bliss in Paradise, Donald Goines. Bliss in Paradise, Hunter S. Thompson. In Gonzo we trust. In Scumbag Journalism we trust. In Shock we trust. As always, stay shocked. Ashe.